What's going on, everybody? Hair here, and yes, here we are, finally, UFC 300. I guess you can say, interesting UFC 300 card that was hyped up by Dana White, saying it was going to be the craziest thing we'd ever seen. You can make a documentary out of this, which he's taken some flack, some heat from it. But here we are, we're here. It's still a great card. It's not the card that he promised that we were thinking Brock Lesnar's, Conor McGregor's, Ronda Rousey's, just Fedor's even. He said it was going to be crazy, the craziest thing we've ever seen. He was wrong. I think he just didn't know what to do. He got a lot of no's, according to Leon Edwards. But here we are again. We're here. It's still a fantastic card. Just like I said, the main event I don't think is 300 worthy. Still a fantastic card though. We're not going to do all the fights, but we're going to get to some of them. First one we're going to get to is Cody Garbrandt and Davison Figueiredo. Two contenders, two champions, two former all of this. Two guys, I guess you could say, in the twilight of their careers. More Garbrandt than anything. I think Figueiredo can still do something in his respective division. But I think this might be a last hurrah for Cody, because Cody's been KO'd a few times. He's been in some wars, as Davison has too. But it still should be a really fun fight. Two guys just slinging it out. And I think you're going to have Figueiredo take out Cody, unfortunately. You're going to have Bo Nickel against Cody Brundage. Bo Nickel he's basically the new poster child for these, I guess, these up-and-coming fighters. You have the Patties of the world. You have a couple other guys too. Bo Nickel is a big fan favorite, tremendous wrestler. They're building him up the right way too, not feeding him to the wolves as they should. As they should not, I should say. So Bo Nickel should take this guy out, should beat him, should wrestle him down, and he's showing good stand-up too, which is fantastic. So I think Bo Nickel runs through him again. He's getting sponsorships. He's doing great. He's on podcasts. They're building him up the right way. So I think Bo Nickel wins. Next, you have the UFC debut of Kayla Harrison facing a former contender and champion, Holly Holm. One of her notable knockouts, knocked out Ronda Rousey. But yes, Kayla Harrison coming in from the PFL, undefeated champ. This monster of a woman. I think she's going to destroy Holly. They're going to feed Holly to her, and she's going to make a successful UFC debut, and it'll be at UFC 300. I think she's going to change the game for the women, because right now you only really look forward to seeing Amanda Nunes, who is a killer in the women's division. But now you're going to have Kayla Harrison inject some life into it, and I think she's going to do great in it. She's going to just murk up a bunch of girls. Next one, you have Aljamain Sterling, former champ, just champ not too long ago, against Calvin Kattar, another contender. Again, a lot of these fights are fantastic, known names, guys that have been there, guys that have been in the title fights, guys that have are in the top 5. I think Aljamain rights his wrong. I think he avenges his Sugar Sean loss. He takes out Kattar, and he tries to get that rematch back with Sugar Sean. Aljamain is a tremendous fighter, second to none on the ground. His stand-up is decent, but I think he should have done his ground game a lot more with Sugar Sean. And I think he does that with this fight with Kattar, and he's a UFC 300 victor. Oliveira, we have Charles Oliveira against Arman Tsarukyan, probably saying that wrong. Again, another former champ. Oliveira, a grinder like Brandon Moreno, who was losing, then became champ, losing, became champ. And I think Oliveira just does it again. He wins. He takes this guy out again. Once again, does this, and then becomes another title contender for his respective division. I believe you have Oliveira continuing to, mark or cement his legacy as a contender and a champ at any given time, any given moment. Next, you have who am I missing right here? I got Oliveira. Oh, sorry. You have another one. This is also, honestly, this is a great card. I'm seeing all these contenders. I might have been a little too harsh on it before, but Yuri Prochazka, friend of the show, tremendous fighter, former champ. Again, I keep saying that. Against Alexander Rakic, contender. Only have 3 losses on his record. Yuri Prochazka has been a contender. He's been champ. Lost to Pereira, the main event of this card, and now he's just trying to get back into it because he lost. He didn't make any excuses. Was it called a little bit short? Yeah, I kind of think it was. But at the end of the day, he owned his loss like a man, and he said, "I'm gonna come make my way back." I think with one or two wins, he gets right back into title contention, and I think he wins this one flawlessly too. KO. I think Yuri, friend of the show, nice to give us his time on here, gets back into title contention, and we see him facing Pereira or Jamal Hill, and we'll get to that. Next, you have one of your co-main events. There's a bunch of co-main events. You have Zhang Weili against Yan Xiaonan. Maybe I said that wrong. Maybe I said it right. I'm not 100% sure. Long story short, I think you get Zhang Weili winning. Continues to be the women's strawweight champ, and looking for a new contender in that division. Your other co-main event, you're looking at one of these wild card fights. Another BMF title fight. Justin Gaethje against Max Holloway. On paper, this sounds fantastic. It sounds fun. It sounds like a fight that you could, main event at pay-per-view. But at the end of the day, if you really look into it, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense because they're in different divisions, kind of in different timelines right now too. I guess you can say similar timelines. They've both been champ. They both have been, beat up. They both have had some crazy, crazy wars. But Justin's a lot bigger than Max. So, I feel like Justin lands a few bombs, he's going to really hurt Max Holloway. Holloway's used to fighting, a lot smaller guys, the Volkanovskis of the world, those type of, really small guys. And Justin's just a super heavy hitter. So on paper, it seems very fun. But like I said, I think if Justin lands a few bombs, he's going to really hurt Max. Now, I will say Max is one of the best boxers in the UFC. So it will be a really fun fight. And if he can pepper Gaethje and avoid the big bombs, maybe he can pull it off. Maybe he can become the BMF champ. But it does seem like an overestimation of a fight. A fun fight on card, but he seems like he's a little bit too big for Max. Hopefully I'm wrong. I'm a big Max fan. I like Gaethje too. I just think they kind of put Max in a tough situation. But he's a fun fighter. So is Gaethje, so it should be a really fun fight. Your main event, the one that Dana White was talking about a lot, that said this was going to change the fight game, change everything that we've been known to. It's Alex Pereira against Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill coming off an injury. He kind of rushed back for this because there was a lot of potential fights that were supposed to happen. You were getting people saying Brock Lesnar, people saying Conor, people saying Ronda, people saying Fedor, people saying all kinds of crazy stuff. And at the end of the day, we were expecting Batman versus Spider-Man, and we got Pereira versus Jamal Hill. A great fight for a pay-per-view, not necessarily the century mark for the pay-per-view, so 100, 200, or 300. I think this was just this wasn't Dana White's A, B, or C plan. It was, I think, maybe N or O or P. It was a lot later of a plan than we expected, but he needed a main event. So we get this. Again, Pereira's fantastic, double champ. Jamal Hill, he was the champ, then he got injured, so you're going to get your undisputed champ crown at this. Jamal Hill's a fantastic fighter. He's great. He was on a roll before he got injured. Pereira, a lot of people say he's one-dimensional. I don't necessarily agree with that. Yes, his boxing is second to none. Kickboxing is to that. He murks everybody. Izzy got him that last time, but he murked Izzy too. He beat up everybody that's been in his way, including the Yuris of the world and even the Jan Blachowicz of the world. And now he's going to defend it against Jamal Hill. Should be fun. I'm never picking against Alex Pereira. He's just too big, too long, too strong, and too educated in the kickboxing objective. So I'm picking Alex Pereira. I think he's going to be your victor at UFC 300, and maybe. And he also wants to fight at 301, which is going to be in Brazil. So if he murks Jamal Hill, expecting to fight again, quick turnaround at 301, maybe against Izzy, maybe against Strickland, maybe Hamza, Robert Whittaker. There's a lot of potential fights he could have, but again, if he wins unanimously, I believe he will fight again at 301. Should be fun, should be fantastic. Looking forward to it. This is the hair.